On World News tonight, the Army and the Marines line themselves up on Baghdad. There are many reports the Republican Guard is moving in their direction. One Marine tells our reporter, given the landscape and the weather, sometimes it is Desert Storm and sometimes it feels like Vietnam. Diane Sawyer on caring for the wounded. And the pictures today, the power, the symbolism, the solidarity.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. The Army and the Marines struggled on towards Baghdad today. One general said the Iraqi resistance is greater than expected. Sandstorms, rain, and the Iraqis have slowed the U.S. down. At Karbala, the pilgrimage site for Shiite Muslims, the Army has been fighting sporadically with the Iraqi Republican Guard, and there is similar fighting around Najaf. And U.S. intelligence says it's picked up what may be a large column of the Republican Guard, hundreds of vehicles, they said, heading south in such bad weather, the U.S. has difficulty picking them off from the air. The northern front is getting more active. 1,000 paratroopers have now landed there, joining men from special operations already in the ground. And the U.S. bombed in the north again. They were aiming at Iraqi troops west of the oil city Kirkuk. Today, the U.S. bombed Baghdad again. There was a bomb or a missile in one of the neighborhoods on the northeastern edge of the city. Iraq says that 15 civilians died. The Pentagon says it didn't target the area. Iraqi television was back on the air today after being bombed last night. The fighting continued around Nasiriyah and outside Basra, way down south. A column of Iraqi tanks apparently trying to leave the city was attacked either by the U.S. or the British. They were pretty darn exposed. Those are the bare details. Now for the greater substance, we go to ABC's John McCarthy, who's at the Pentagon. John?
Peter, with the arrival of those 1,000 paratroopers in northern Iraq, U.S. officials trying to make the most of it are saying officially the northern front is now open, though still with a very light force. It is, of course, in the south, southern Iraq, where the fighting is now of growing intensity. Iraqi forces were on the move all over the southern battlefield today, some fighting as guerrillas, some in full retreat, some trying to reinforce units under fire. The Iraqis were using the cover of continuing bad weather to move, making attacking them from the air more difficult.
The weather continues to make this a pretty challenging time to fly, has been now for about the last 24 hours.
Despite the distractions, the U.S. and British kept pushing troops, weapons, and ammunition closer to Baghdad, preparing for a major land battle against tens of thousands of Saddam Hussein's best troops. U.S. sources say there will be some surprises for the Iraqis when the battle begins, with U.S. troops coming from directions they might not expect.
We're comfortable with how the battle is progressing. We're on our timeline.
But the 220-mile-long resupply route that is often bumper to bumper with military trucks and equipment has become the target for Saddam Hussein's irregular forces, sometimes called Fedayeen. There are far more in the south, and they are better trained than military commanders had anticipated.
The Fedayeen and his special police forces, the SSO, are putting up a struggle. And as that struggle becomes more asymmetric, more terrorist-like in its nature, it becomes harder for us, configured here as conventional forces, to fight against it.
American troops discovered that in Najaf, a city of 100,000 that the U.S. had bypassed on the way north, but has now been forced to deal with after 36 hours of heavy fighting.